Hello, hello. This is moi. I am trying to get comfortable. Excuse me. Um, Doing a video on The Boys. I am late to all good things. Much like the Harry Potter series of films, I never watched them while they were coming out, and up until about 2 months ago, I'd never seen a Harry Potter movie, and then I sat and watched them all like 5 or 6 times through end to end. And The Boys is a similar thing. I hadn't watched any of them when they came out, and then started them last weekend, and I just finished the last one. This is going to be my thoughts on the story slash kind of a review. Not that anybody gives a damn, but I have some things that I want to say about the show. Spoilers. Spoilers. Because I know a particular person, my brother, is going to watch this. So spoilers, dude. Back out. Go finish it. And then, come back and we'll see. So The Boys. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's what would happen in the real world with superheroes. Chances are pretty good they wouldn't really be good guys. A few of them maybe, depending on the way they're brought up and if they're what their moral values are in the home they're raised in, maybe. But with great power and the ability to circumvent rules, more often than not, you end up with people who are not necessarily the best folks. Not really well rounded and generally not very nice. Especially to others that don't have ability, can't match them. As far as the villain is concerned, Homelander is a really, really good. He's a really good villain. He's basically evil Superman, a lot like Brightburn. Um, he's really weird. Homelander is a really, really fucking weird, really weird character. Some of his quirks are really, really strange. But the actor is phenomenal. Anthony Starr does a great job. And the character is, for what he is, he's pretty good. I don't agree with the way they represent the people who like him. I think that the show it's trying to a little too much to become hyper political. We'll see what happens with that. I don't agree with the way it's politicized, but the show is really, really well done. The Boys casts, all of the main characters are all phenomenal. Carl Urban as Billy Butcher is great. Jack Quaid is very, very good. Aaron Moriarty. All of the characters are very, very well done. Now, I want to sort of breeze past that and then get into my thoughts on the story. So, the story for The Boys, for anybody who's not familiar with the story of The Boys, and again, spoilers, is the main characters are vigilantes who go after superheroes who abuse their abilities. Homelander, evil Superman, is one of those characters. And because he's evil Superman, he can get away with anything, and nobody has any idea how to stop him. So they can't do anything to him. Well, throughout the seasons, they try to come up with different ways to get to him. In season 3 is really where I want to focus on, because this is really where the show is starting to... I think it's starting to go down a path that I think it shouldn't. And I'll explain. In season 3, Jensen Ackles, who played Dean Winchester in Supernatural and has been in other things, but he's most known for Dean Winchester in Supernatural, which is another phenomenal show. Excellent. And he is a superb actor. He comes back in season 3, or he comes to The Boys in season 3, as a character called Soldier Boy. Now, Soldier Boy is basically evil Superman 1.0. Okay? Except maybe not actually evil. In the show, the only thing that they ever referenced that he did that was bad was he kills one of the main characters' grandfather, at least, and possibly other people. But it was an accident, the way that it was done. It's not like he intentionally went out. The way it was described in the show is one of the main characters is at home. He hears something outside. He looks out the window and sees Soldier Boy outside trying to stop some kids who are going to jack a car. And he wakes up his grandfather. At least Soldier Boy then takes the car and for whatever reason throws it through the house that they're in, and it kills his grandfather and, again, I assume other people. Soldier Boy is a character I really, really want to talk about here because I don't think the show is doing justice to the writing the way that it's been at this point. Now, none of these characters really are heroes in a way. They all have their shit moments. But good people sometimes have to get into the shit in order to do things the way they need to be done, right? You can't always take the high road. People who cheat and undercut you are always going to win if you stand on some sort of moral soapbox all of the time. So sometimes you have to get down and dirty. There are definite heroes and there are definite villains. My issue with the way that they handled Soldier Boy is I don't think he's actually a villain. Again, the only thing that they said that he did was an accident. He could have been trying to pick the car up and move it by hand just to show these kids, like, he's the real deal and not to fuck with him and not steal his car. And in the process of doing that, accidentally threw it through a house. Now, he probably should have stuck around and, tried to save people in the house if that's how it went down. But, it's plausible enough to have been an accident, and they didn't show any malevolence there. And the problem that I have is the show is really, it's starting to do this thing with the subjectivity of morality. They do it also, I believe, in the same season with A-Train, where in the first episode of season 1, A-Train, one of the Supes, kills one of the main character's girlfriends, which sets that main character off on his journey to become one of the boys and go after other superheroes. Later on, A-Train's brother is injured in a superhero incident, and then he decides that he wants justice, and he tells the CEO of the evil corporation in this Vought that he wants justice. He wants some justice for what happened to his brother. And I don't like her character at all. She's a sniveling yes man. I don't like her. But she rightfully puts him in his place and says, for all of the people that you've hurt and all of the times that they wanted justice, you didn't care. But now all of a sudden that it happens to you, now it's important. Now you want it. All right? I agree with that. Okay? So they're doing this thing with moral ambiguity, right? And I don't think it's, I mean, look, it's an okay road to walk, but it has to have its reckoning moment. MM, the character whose family was killed by Soldier Boy, again, at least his grandfather, possibly more people, in an accident, until they show it otherwise, I'm going to say it's an accident, because they never said that it was intentional. He didn't single his family out, he didn't intentionally kill anybody, it was an accident. Still wrong, but an accident. Okay. MM, the character whose family was killed by Soldier Boy, goes after Soldier Boy, and he hates him with everything that he has. He hates him with every fiber of his being. He has OCD that he got from that incident. He has a bunch of tics. He's got some convulsions he mentions. He's got problems from that incident. The problem I have is that he stands on his moral high horse, and he acts like he's somehow better than Soldier Boy. Now, he's not. He's killed plenty of people who didn't need to die. He's done terrible things that didn't need to happen. And he's done them because that was the mission, or that was the job. The moral dilemma that they're setting up here, it works if you have the moment of reckoning, where you have the character who's hated and the character that hates have this moment where they both realize that they're both pieces of shit. They did that earlier in the show with the character of Lamplighter. Lamplighter is revealed to have been the character that burned one of the character's two grandchildren. And then later on, when they finally meet him, it's revealed that he didn't know they were in the car. It was supposed to be one of the characters that he was after. He didn't know they were in the car until he lit it up and they started to scream, and then it was too late. And the character he tells that to is a character who worked for a drug lord and killed people and was a hitman and was just a piece of shit. Like, all of these characters are pieces of shit. And so as the show is getting more and more along the narrative they're trying to build, the problem that is starting here is you're having this sort of moral back and forth, and it's going to get to a point where it's not going to work anymore, right? You can't keep having pieces of shit call other pieces of shit, without it eventually getting to a point where the audience starts to not care because it seems disingenuous. You know, MM saying that Soldier Boy is a piece of shit for an accident is really, really stupid, and it doesn't have the same sort of delivery when you consider that MM has also probably done awful, terrible things because of his job too, or accidents where he's accidentally killed people or caused people to die. Like, there's no one is standing morally on a higher level. It's two people at the very bottom calling each other pieces of shit, and it just gets old. Now, again, spoilers, at the end of season 3, Soldier Boy, Homelander, and Butcher have a fight. Butcher's roided out on temporary superhero juice, and they have this big fight. I'm not gonna lie, the fight was really cool. I don't like the way that it went, though. I was really hoping that Soldier Boy was going to be sort of the character that was gonna sort of be the good guy. There was gonna be one of them. Um, Again, phenomenally played by Jensen Ackles, but he's kind of a dick. He's not wrong, but he's kind of a dick. Um, he survives at the end of season 3. I thought they were going to kill him off because he flies out the window and blows up. He has this ability where he can like send out like he can't shoot lasers from his eyes, but he can basically like send one out from his chest or explode, and it absorbs power, pulls power from heroes, negates it entirely, and then obviously kills anybody who's caught in the blast because it's an explosion. At the end of season 3, it's revealed he survived and he's back in one of those happy little tanks. So obviously they have plans to bring him back at some point. Now, again, what I want from the show is I want Homelander to die. I want him to be punished for what he does. There is nothing more satisfying than watching a god face a reckoning, where a power greater than them or a series of weaker powers joined it together, put them in their place, and show them that they are not above the rest of us. That with enough concentrated power, anyone can be brought down to our level at any time. So Homelander needs to be punished. Ryan needs to be saved, which is Homelander's son, because he's with Homelander now, and at the end of season 3, Homelander does something, and Ryan kind of smirks, and so Ryan's going to start going down a really, really bad path here. Butcher, I don't know. Butcher just needs to keep being him. I mean, he's just amazing as this incredibly toxic person. It's just great. Phenomenal. Soldier Boy and MM need to have a moment. They need to have a moment where they come together. They need to have a moment where Soldier Boy finally gets to just unload on MM. Kind of like if you've ever seen Peaky Blinders, there's a scene, was it in the 4th season, where the main character's son is taken, and he goes to another crime boss, and that crime boss was aware of the fact that his son was, or that crime boss is then questioned by the main character about his son being taken, and the main character, who is the leader of the Peaky Blinders, which is a gang, a criminal gang that kills people and hurts people and does terrible shit, tries to take the moral high ground over the other crime boss. And the other crime boss, played by Tom Hardy, rightfully cuts him down and puts him in his place. You know, basically telling him, like, look, don't pretend that you're any better than I am. You've done everything I have. How many mothers have you taken their sons away? How many people have you killed because they were in your way? I mean, you've done the same thing. You do the same things that I do. And now all of a sudden you want to stand here and pretend like you're somehow better than I am. Soldier Boy and MM need to have that moment. Jensen Ackles, I really don't want them to just shelve his character. I want him to come back. I want him to be a character in the show that people can get behind and like. I don't necessarily want him to be a goody two-shoes because it'd be super out of line. But I do want there to be this moment where the heroes who are human and the heroes who are superheroes realize that they're all pieces of shit. And that calling each other pieces of shit doesn't do any good. Right? Everybody has done things that they wish they hadn't done. And that's the thing that can unite them, is everyone has accidentally in this show killed somebody or caused somebody to die that they didn't mean to or they didn't want to die. The difference and what separates the heroes who are pieces of shit, from Homelander, who is a piece of shit, is that Homelander doesn't regret any of it. He doesn't feel bad. Except maybe about Noir, Black Noir, who he kills. Spoilers, by the way. He might be the only one. He doesn't feel bad about anything else that he does. That's what makes him worse. That's what makes him the worst. He doesn't have that conscience that kicks in that when he does something wrong. There's no, even if he's going to do it anyway, there's no like moment where, you know, a switch flips in his brain and he goes, okay, hold on, wait a minute here. Maybe this isn't something I should be doing. He doesn't have that. That doesn't happen. So that's what can unite the heroes. Soldier Boy, need to have a moment where Soldier Boy calls out for being a hypocritical piece of shit. And then my enemy and my enemy is my friend. They don't have to be buddies, but they need to come together to beat Homelander. That's really what I'm looking forward to most in this show. I'm looking for a moment where one of these heroes, I think Soldier Boy is in the best place to do it, tells Butcher and and all of the rest of them that they are just as much pieces of shit as he is. That they've done things that they aren't proud of, they didn't want to do, caused people to get hurt or die that they didn't mean to, and that they have no right to stand on some sort of moral high horse and look down at him and say that he's a bad person or that he's awful for what he's done. It seems like in the show, if you're a superhero and you make mistakes and people die, that somehow you're worse than someone who's normal, not a superhero, makes mistakes and people die. Like if a superhero kills somebody on accident, that's the worst thing in the world. But if a normal person kills somebody on accident, it's just like a Tuesday. And that needs to not happen. That needs to not be that way. I would like to see that change in the show. So I'm hoping to wrap this all up. I'm hoping that Soldier Boy comes back as a character. He's still alive, so he can. I hope that they have a moment where the humans realize that they're just as much pieces of shit as the superheroes, and so they stop trying to fight Soldier Boy, and they come together as a group, because really that's the only chance they have to beat Homelander. Show is really good. If you've not watched The Boys, watch The Boys. It's great. You will love it. If you've ever wondered what superheroes would actually be like, this is that. If you can get over the hyper-political stuff, you can manage it. The show is Amazon Prime, so it's super left-wing. Lots of riffs on the current political system that we have in the U.S. But if you can look past the politics of it and just for the characters, and honestly the politics too, because it's not, I mean, I don't agree with the way that it's represented, but it's not wrong. It is how the political game is played a lot of times. It's a good show. I easily give it 9 out of 10 stars. If they bring Jensen Ackles back as a consistent character and they can somehow redeem him so he's a part of that group, it'll go to an instant 10 out of 10. So, yeah, it's really good. Watch the show.